So I watched 51 movies in 2023, not all that were released in 2023, but 51 movies total. And so instead of doing a top 10, like these are the best movies in this particular order, I just went through genres and I picked, if I had to watch one from this genre, what would it be? And if I couldn't pick that one, what would be the next best thing? And so here we go. We're going categories and we're going, what is the one from that category? And then what is the backup from that category? Starting with drama, I would say Oppenheimer would be the #1 drama of the year for me. I thought that one, production-wise, was very good. You look at the acting and all the characters involved, very good. Like, I really liked that film. It's one that, even though it's 3.5 hours, like, I really enjoyed it and I wouldn't mind revisiting it. I just really haven't seen it streaming anywhere. So I'll probably check it out at some point again because I like the story, I like the history, I like the science, all that stuff interests me quite a bit. That would be the one from the drama category. If there's a backup that I would have to choose from the drama category, it would probably be Killers of the Flower Moon. There are some other ones that are really, really good that could be like in there in the drama category, but Killers of the Flower Moon has the history for me that I really like. I really like all the performances. I just enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Now, I do feel like Oppenheimer is way better, but there's not many dramas that I saw this year that could stand up to those two. So I would say those two would be my 1 and 2 for the drama category. Category 2 would be comic book movies, and so we don't really have a great selection this year. It's kind of rough. But the first two and the two that I've chosen are miles better than everything else that has been out. #1 being Across the Spiderverse. That movie was excellent, and honestly, in anybody's list, it could easily be in the top 3 for the year. I really enjoyed Across the Spider-Verse, and I thought it was an excellent film. And if I could not choose to watch that one again, the next best option would be Guardians 3. People have been so down on the MCU in the last few years, and they overlook all the really, really good ones. And Guardians 3 was a really, really good one. Now, some people attributed that to James Gunn and not Marvel, but hey, it's in the MCU, it's in that wheelhouse, so I'm giving it to Marvel. You did hit a home run with Guardians 3, and so Across the Spider-Verse would be my 1A, Guardians 3 would be my 1B in the comic book movie section. Everything else is truly forgettable for the most part. Category 3 would be sci-fi. That's one of my favorite categories to watch movies in. I love the sci-fi genre. This one was kind of tough, but #1 is clear. It's no 1A, 1B stuff. And #1 would be Godzilla -1. Easily in the top 3 for anybody for this year. It was a very, very good one. One that I recommend that you see in theaters. It was great. It was a good experience. Even though you have to read and all that, the graphics were great. The storyline made so much sense and really had you connect to these characters. I really enjoyed it. I was very high on it. And if I couldn't watch -1 again, this is where the trouble came for me because I wanted to say Rebel Moon, but I have to go with one that I feel like is just better made and just overall quality is just a tad bit higher, and that would be The Creator. I enjoyed The Creator a little bit more than I enjoyed Rebel Moon. It wasn't as difficult to get into. The storyline was one that I really enjoyed. The movie had heart, and I really liked that about it, just a little bit more than Rebel Moon. So I would put The Creator as my #2 slot, and I would put Godzilla -1 in my #1 slot for action sci-fi movies for the year. In comedy was kind of tough because it was a kind of an up and down year for comedy for me, but my #1 is clearly #1, and that would be They Cloned Tyrone, which was a Netflix film released, I believe, in late July or early August. Had a great time with it, revisited it more than once. It was a good movie, and I enjoyed it, and I think that it's underrated in the eyes of a lot of people, but that was a great action comedy from this year. If I couldn't watch They Clone Tyrone again, I would have to go with something that's a little more niche, and that would be Bottoms. That's not going to be for everybody. It's going to be some people really turned off by the spoofiness of it and, the camp that it provides, but I liked it. I thought it was very funny. I laughed at it quite a bit, and there's parts that I want to revisit, and I will be revisiting coming up soon in this dry spell that we have in the month of January. So yeah, I'm big on Bottoms as my #2, and They Clone Tyrone, a clear #1 in the comedy genre. Now, horror is the genre where I'm lacking the most, and I will admit it. I didn't watch a lot of stuff that came out in the horror genre this year. Spiritually, I've taken a step back to where, hey, if it's too much demonic devil stuff, I don't want to mess with it. So I'm going to give you two that I've seen that I'm really high on, and then two that I haven't seen that everyone else I know is very high on. And so the two that come from me are Scream 6. I'm really high on Scream 6. I enjoyed that at the beginning of this year. I thought it was just as good as Scream 5, like reinvigorating the franchise. I think it's clearly better than Scream 4 because that's a debate that's going on online right now. I don't know why. And if I couldn't watch Scream 6 again, and I couldn't watch that one from the horror genre, then I would watch Thanksgiving, a surprisingly good film that was a slasher that I really enjoyed. I liked the way it was executed. It was a good movie. I had fun with it for what it was. And so those are my two. And the other two that I would recommend to people for 2023 in the horror genre that I know are good, but I didn't watch, that would be The Evil Dead. I know Evil Dead got rave reviews from people, and I actually kind of wanted to see it, but when I started seeing some of the demonic, it's like, I don't know if I can like submit myself to this. So I chose not to do it, but I do know that it's well made and it's really good for the people who are into it. And the other one that I was really on the edge of watching was Talk to Me. I like the fact that it is a cautionary tale, but I didn't take the time to say I'm gonna dedicate myself to watching this, just because spiritually, anything with possessions and stuff like that, I try to stay away from. I can deal with a slasher, but the demons, I try to stay away from that stuff. So I know it's good. I've heard people talk about it. Close friends, movie critics, people I trust, people I agree with, they like those two as well. So that's my little list for 2023. Is not really a ranking or what's the best movie of the year type stuff, but I did want to go over and recap with all my movie experience for the past year. These are the ones that I recommend in these genres. So let me know if you think I missed anything. I know that there's a lot more that I probably could have seen, but I just chose not to, or didn't want to spend the money to go to the theaters and watch. So if you got recommendations, please drop them in the comments and I'll be open to checking them out 2024. That's all we got for this one, y'all. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.